I'm Amy at Platt Fields Market Garden. I'm just here to talk you through your kit and what you've got in your pack. So it's a dim, wet, rainy October day, so it's no better time to think about spring and get a little bit of colour into your house over spring. So in your pack you've got a bunch of different bulbs, and because you're growing them indoors and not outside, they need triggering into growth. This is called forcing bulbs. So you force them into an early growth. So some will come around Christmas, some will come early spring. And to do that, you need to make the bulb believe it's winter. So I'll talk you through what all the bulbs need, because they all need slightly different things to trigger them into growth. It's really easy, don't be intimidated by it. In your pack, you've got a bunch of different bulbs. You've got a pink and a white hyacinth. They'll be planted together in the big pot. You've got a white daffodil that will flower around Christmas, and that'll be planted in a little pot. And then you've got two different kinds of iris that'll be planted together, and some muscari as well. So I'll talk you through each of them and what to do with them. Start with the hyacinth, because you've got a couple of those. What you do is you fill the pot pretty much 3/4 full to the top, maybe leave an inch or two spare at the top, so you've got a little bit of room. And then what you do is you just press them halfway into the soil, so they're not even covered, they've just got their bottoms covered, and then sprinkle a little bit of soil around the top to firm them in, so they're just kind of sticking out there. And then to trigger the hyacinths into growth, what you need to do is put a plastic bag over them so it's dark, so they think it's winter. And you need to put them somewhere cool, like you could put them in a porch, on a drafty windowsill, a cellar, even put them in the fridge if you've not got anywhere like that. And then you make sure the soil is a little bit moist. You want it just moist, so give it a little water, and check back to see that it's not gone bone dry, but you don't want it soaking wet either, because then it'll rot away. And you leave it in your cold place and just keep checking back over the next 10 weeks. And as soon as you see some little green shoots coming out, and they get to about 5 centimetres, you want to put the bulbs somewhere warm and bright, like a windowsill. Don't put them next to a radiator, because that'll just dry the soil right out, but put them next to a sunny windowsill. That's perfect. And then about 3 weeks after that, they'll start to flower, and you get these really, really highly perfumed, bright flowers in different colours. So really easy, and you just need to remember to keep checking back basically over that 10 weeks. So that's the hyacinths. Next, you've got two different kinds of iris. This iris is called Iris Harmony, which is a very deep blue iris. So you've got two different irises. You've got, they look the same, the bulbs look exactly the same. You've got Iris Catherine Hodgkin, which is kind of yellow and blue, and Iris Harmony. And these things, they're like bright little jewels that flower in the early spring, kind of February, March time. And for these, again, you need to fill your pot 3/4 full, like so. And then about 1/2 inch apart and 2 inches down, just push them into the soil, and then cover them so that they've got at least 2 inches over them. And again, you want the soil to be just moist, so give it an initial water, and then just kind of leave it. You don't want it to be soaking, you don't want it to be bone dry. And just like the hyacinths, you want to check back and just make sure that that soil is just moist, and put it in a cool, dim place. Leave it for, again, about 10 weeks, and then early spring, you'll get these tiny jewel-like flowers coming through, and they're just really beautiful and special. So that is the iris. So you've got two hyacinth bulbs, which are different, and two iris bulbs, which are different in the same pot. Next one, slightly different, because you don't need to leave it in a dark place, is the paper white Narcissus daffodil bulb. And so for this bulb, it flowers around Christmas time, so it'll flower earlier than your other two. And it doesn't need to be as deep, so you fill your pot pretty much to the top, and then it might have a little shoot coming through already. So you want it so the shoot's just kind of poking out. It's covered, but that little white shoot can just be poking out. And you want to just leave this not somewhere dark or dim, but just somewhere cool. So again, like a porch, a drafty windowsill for 3 to 4 weeks. And then after that, it should start shooting. So you just bring it into the warm, bring it into the light, put it on a sunny windowsill, and that should be flowering by Christmas if you're planting it around now. So that is the Narcissus Paperwhite Daffodil. Could make a great Christmas present for somebody as well. Just give them a beautiful flower on Christmas Day when nothing else is in bloom. Okay, and the last one is Muscari. So for the Muscari, very, very similar to the iris. It's another little bulb. It's the smallest bulb of all of them. Just fill the pot so that you're just up to the rim. I give it a little shake and a tap to firm it down, and then you get your tiny little bulb and just push it in so it's just covered in soil. And again, you water it so the soil is just moist, not soaking wet, and then you put it in the fridge so that it thinks it's winter, so it's below 9 degrees. Keep checking back to make sure the soil is moist, and then as soon as it starts to shoot, put it on a sunny windowsill, and then you'll have this beautiful, highly scented, deep blue flower. Muscari is also known as the grape hyacinth because the flowers look like tiny little miniature bunches of grapes. And that's everything. A little tip for all of them would be to just, if you're wondering whether you're doing it right and they're in growth, just check back every now and then. And before it starts to have a green shoot, it'll start to have roots, and you'll see little white, looks a bit like vermicelli noodles coming out the bottom, and that'll let you know that it's in growth. And the other important thing is to keep the soil not too moist, not too dry, just kind of, you know, mist it every 3 or 4 days. That's it. Those are all your spring bulbs. Enjoy. Goodbye.